This is your weekend market review for Sunday, February 4th, 2024. Let's go.
Hey everyone, this is my channel to help investors and traders develop a probability-based mindset to succeed. Also try and keep friends informed of what's going on in the markets and the economy, and also a little real estate content as well.
This is Dan Max at eXp Realty, aka the Trading Agent, and this is your weekend market review for Sunday, February 4th, 2024. Hopefully you're having a great weekend. Yeah, I just got back in town. I apologize again. No earlier recaps as we went out of town. Got to talk about it. A lot going on. As we know, market did a freaking complete backflip. Ripped to new highs. Some things ripped, some things dipped. Interesting action. So let's dig into it because I think a lot of people, again, have assumptions that we can only rip higher. Some people think we can only go down. I'd be willing to argue now, maybe on today's action, just be careful. Again, earnings is always tricky. And a lot of people get caught in the one-day moves or the 3-day, 5-day, multi-day moves, and they go, all right, well, I need to chase that action. This is a start of something big. It's like, ask yourself, has something already happened big? Are you chasing a move that has already happened? If so, you've got to be careful. So, new to the channel, Discord room, link in description below. Appreciate all the love, support, generous donations. You guys are amazing. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell on YouTube. Website is almost done. Get your reading. Please read these books. Have the Stock Traders Almanac. Know what's going on. I know a lot of people who just, again, float along. Goal is not to float. Keep in mind the market seasonality going into middle of February. There's usually a post, what I would say, like you have a hangover January, which we had a little drop. Earnings, who knows? Again, I didn't expect earnings reaction on Thursday to be this great, considering some of the new data from Amazon and Meta. Kind of mind-boggling that anyone would even buy that and chase that, but hey, that's what the market does. Also, get your interactive brokers. That's the Stock Traders Almanac. It would be helpful. And yeah, get your 5.5%. Telling you guys, don't mess that up. Don't miss that. Also, follow on Twitter, posting things that I think are rather interessante. All right, we know March meeting, the odds keep going down, right? It was like 50, 60%. Now it's at 38. Be careful. Bitcoin, we talked about backtesting trend lines. A lot of people say it's not technical. It just seems to trap. We talked about a 20% pullback. You got it. You really need to get over this 44,000 level to have any traction. Oil pulling back because everything's awesome. We'll see. I mean, I don't know. It's crazy to think that over the weekend we're doing more stuff in the Middle East. Natural gas, again, I like natural gas here. Again, I would limit your risk. No guarantee, but there seems to be little downside. The dollar, as we talked about, all the rest of the world, China's fallen off a cliff and continuing to fall off a cliff. We talked about how people stop paying their debts, literally. And now you're in this position where who knows? TLT, all over the place. Nice trade for those who are short-term traders. Talked about it popping. Goes ex-div, pulls back. All right. Again, I mean, I personally don't have any positions, but I'm watching the ranges. I'm watching this 93. I'd be watching the 9,900. The VIX, considering what the market did, look at it. I mean, it's nothing. It's just basing. Vixen, major pickup, right? Look at that, all over the place. And major, I mean, like, considering from the close, right? 6 points, but I guess, technically, that's a little tricky. Vivix, that's the one, the VIX of the VIX, it's showing you there's something going on here. Now, again, that's what's so hard, timing-wise, timing. If you're long, raise your stops. If you're short, define your risk. You got to be careful. This is what the action is, though, which is crazy because it's not the first time we've seen traps, especially like say near bottoms. You see them at highs. I would be careful on red alert. Just follow through. Because Powell's now stuck. And not saying that we can't just continue to melt up near term. Right? Like that, no one, don't get that twisted. But there's a lot of factors in between that just don't confirm it. But here's the thing. The market's right. You do what the market's doing. If you're wrong, define your risk. Like look at the Qs, right? Blowing out on this data, right? Retesting the highs. Keep an eye on it. IWM. Did IWM follow Friday? No. This thing has been lagging like do. DIA. Holding up. You got to give credit for the DIA. We've talked about it. It's been holding up pretty well, right? New all-time highs. I mean, I guess you could try to draw some trend lines, but again, it is what it is. I mean, it's 30 stocks. It's worth watching just to see. Gold, as we talked about, I don't trust it. I love gold long term. Again, if you could disappear for probably 2 years, you're probably good. I just don't trust until it breaks out. And it's not breaking out until then. I don't want to play with it. Silver, not confirming it, right? This is what's so hard. Silver not confirming, gold not breaking out. Stay away from this space in my opinion. Look at the GDX. I mean, you would think this thing would be ripping on Friday with the market up. Big choppy range. GDXJ, sorry, GDX and GDXJ. I mean, again, you're playing in like purgatory. I would stay away from this stuff. Be careful, please. Wait till the Feds pivot. We talked about that's always the best time. AG had earnings coming up. Keep an eye on it. AEM. I mean, look at these names. They're just all over the place. Makes new lows. Wicks right back. Newmont, we talked about being an absolute donkey. It's really hard to trust the miners, right? It just really is, right? You just got to be careful. PAAS. Chop, chop. Chop, chop. I mean, who knows? Taiwan Semi, again, love this short. Up near the highs, right? Post earnings. Tries to fill the gap on Friday. Keep an eye on this stuff. Because, again, China's surrounding. That can be good. Micron, chopping. This thing has no growth. AMD, are you surprised it bounced? I mean, no, not really. I mean, this is the thing. Like, we talk about choppy tops. Literally put arrows back into the past. No, first dip typically gets bought on momentum names. We talk about that, right? Typically, remember, it's probabilities. So if something's been strong, the first pullback usually finds buyers because there's a ton of chasers. NVDA, the high of the day, 6666. What the fudge sickle? Is this a fake breakout or is it really going to rip? Everyone's calling for 1,000. Intel not following at all. Making new lows. Interesting, right? SMH being carried by obviously a few of the strong ones. All right. Again, this is where the market's going to be confusing. Stick to what's working. If you're long names that have been leading and they're doing great. Fine. Roll up your stops. If you're shorting things that aren't working, they're great. If you're in names that are going nowhere, be careful. Adobe chopping at the highs. Apple's earnings. We knew they were going to be, again, I think they're mediocre, but not surprised that we like drop, retest, flop back. I have no problem with this action on earnings. Because again, if I see this thing fill the gap at 188, I think it becomes very easy to short with tight stops. Very tight stops. I mean, it's just obvious. Amazon breakout on earnings. Again, I give credit to some of the people in the Discord room who said they saw the options action, talking about longer dated potential pops in Amazon. I don't think there'd be that much upside here. Be careful from here. Again, these gaps are very runaway scary. Meta, same kind of thing. Blowing out. Again, talked about shorting it previously, got stopped out. Thank God. Right? Went into earnings, no position. 3-day rule in effect. We'll see. I mean, how many shares will they announce that Zuckerberg sold on Friday? That's my question. CRM chopping at the highs. Google, we talked about getting cooked. Okay. Nice long wick. And again, oversold, little chopping around. Bring back in some players, meaning bulls and bears, getting people all wild up. Microsoft, look at this, chopping around. NDAQ, we talked about this being toast. Look at that breakout. Again, talk about like a big move in long wick. Good God. MicroStrategy, again, obviously it's tied to the boat of Bitcoin. Talked about it holding down here. Nicely done. Talked about the 20-day in this 526 area. Netflix, again, this is what's hard. Like you see what everyone's talking about, a few names, and you go, everything's fine. And then you're like, no, Netflix isn't good. Talked about Roblox failing in the 70 area. It's a chopping. Again, I like this long term, but I want to see dips. Tesla, again, nothing but a good time. How could you resist? No, I mean, look at this name. I mean, it's just been doo-doo. You know, we've talked about this thing being like that for a long time. Man, there's a lot going on here. Just be careful. Just promise yourself, promise me, promise if you have money in this thing that you're just not going to sit here and hope and pray. I just hope. That's just a bad investing strategy. Here you go. Aaron, again, a lot of names just did do crap on Friday. Chopping around. Costco. Got to give it credit holding up, right? I mean, that's one I wouldn't be jumping in front of right now. Starbucks, we talked about. Look at this wick. Good God. FedEx, you would think this would be ripping because things are awesome. Caterpillar, big day. Again, this is what I talked about. Being careful in front of earnings. This run up in front of earnings makes me feel better about the reaction being down in time. Again, no position. New core. People are like, oh, it's going to break out. And it's like, it's hard to trust this market, right? gets back up to the old highs, giving it back. X pulling back. I don't think, again, Nippon Steel, I don't think they're going to get it. VALE, I mean, a lot of the global growth names on Friday just not playing. Look at making new lows. Arrow, we talked about this one chopping in this level, whatever. CCJ, uranium, double top. Look at that. Could be an M top. Keep an eye on that one. CF, talked about ag, love them, nothing. Whole lot of nothing. Chop, chop. Again, I love these names. Just let them get pounded. AA, another global growth aluminum name, just nothing. XLF, not surprised. A little rally on Friday. I mean, again, it's been holding up. First dip gets bought, I guess. We'll see. I mean, man, there's a lot of volume up here. Somebody's doing something. Somebody's doing something. Maybe there's another volume event. Again, layer in. I love financial short. I think they hold all the bags to China. They hold all the bags to commercial real estate. They're just bag holding everywhere. MS, same thing. Hasn't been playing. Bank of America held up pretty well, right? But then that long wick, it gets a little confusing. I know. GS, we've talked about this one chopping around. Said, do not get comfortable unless it breaks this area. So far, it hasn't. Carry, we talked about. Oh, but then the market's strong. Look at junior banks falling off a cliff. We talked about the no doubt fail zone. Failure. XBI, again, another risk on name, has been very tired the last couple of weeks. Keep an eye on it because, again, you could argue it's flagging and holding up. But you could also say it's chopping for dropping. It's tough to know. Solar, as we talked about, has been absolute dog shit. Excuse my language. Again, whether you believe in solar or not, the stock's priced in a massive future. And they've been an absolute terror to own. As we talked about, shorting the dips. That's all it really was. Or shorting the pops. ENPH, keep in mind these do have earnings coming out potentially. Just be thoughtful. Look at that. Oof. Days when things should be up, right? And this is the thing. Bonds were down. Corporate debt getting sold. Oil down. It's confusing. I know. Exactly, right? Just be careful. UNG. I mean, I like, we said near 19. I mean, I don't know if you're going to get back these prices. Just define your risk. Cold, if you would have shorted this up near the highs, I mean, again, I don't know the exact highs. No one knows. I mean, I might as well just expand this out and just say double tops at least. Again, I like layering into shorts here. This thing decays over time. Be careful. If natural gas blows out, just in meaning like it gets knocked down, have a little shares. Have some shares there just in case. Have some room. XOP, it's been all over the place. All over the place. Hits the 200-day, backs off, backside the trend line. It's just a hot mess. ExxonMobil, we talked about breaking down, popping back, had to hold like this. I mean, I don't even know what area this is. It held just all over the place. I don't even know what to say. It's so hard. It's so hard. And that's where I just tell people, like, if you don't know, just leave it alone. It's like, it's so hard to chase tech. We'll leave it alone. It's so hard to play some of these names. Just leave it alone. I really don't want to get people, I mean, I don't want people to get like stuck thinking they have to do anything. NPC, that looks really interesting. We talked about that one. Occidental, we talked about just going nowhere fast. Right? Chop, chop. Nothing. I don't know. EQT, I mean, again, this is what it gets so hard. Please just be careful. Please be careful. These names should be popping and they're chopping and they're flopping. And again, I don't know what to tell you near term. People are looking for certainty. I would think the best thing you can do ultimately is to be careful. Preserve capital at all costs. Meaning, if you're not sure, roll up your stops, define your risk, stop out if necessary. So many people just losing it both ways, going long and short, doing dumb stuff. All right, last but not least, Flex LNG. Again, I think we are a natural gas exporter in time, but I want to see this down. This has a juicy 8-10. It'll have probably a 10% dividend at some point. Looks good. All right, if you have any questions, please reach out. Always here to help for real estate, no matter what. In the end, please be careful. Do what you think is best, but do not take calculated gambles. Try to keep things very calm, very simple. Like, don't go crazy doing stuff that's going to get you in trouble. Because, again, I've seen some people take on some trades that I just go, wow, you're trying to get rich. And I hope you don't go poor trying to get rich. Because, again, if you treat money like you do now as a gamble, well, guess what? If you make more money, you're just going to gamble even bigger. That scares me. And it should scare you. Because if you do that kind of stuff, you're not respecting the money for what it is. And at some point, yeah, you gamble to get rich. You're going to gamble later. And you don't want to do that. All right. Be thoughtful. Talk to you soon.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, stop by the Discord room. A link is in the description below. Also, if you'd like to help support more free content, your PayPal link is in the description as well. I appreciate your continued support of the channel.